Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this wonderful Friday for this special meeting. I really, really appreciate it. I don't want to keep you long. You know, we're not going to do a whole long, drawn-out presentation, but we do have two items we have to vote on. The first one that's coming before us is going to be the New York City Parks and Recreation Walk Park Site Selection Acquisition. So we're going to let them come before us. Are they here now? But are they here? Okay. We're going to start with the roll call. Where's Melinda? You can do it. We're going to start with the roll call. We actually need one more for quorum. Right now we have 25. We need 26. But we're definitely going to move this train. I'm going to have my chief compliant officer who's going to do the roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alyssa Abernathy, Deborah Ack, Alfred Adams, thank you, Amiria Allen, Shani Bell, Nydia Bonifant, thank you, Mother Bright, thank you, we have quorum. Mr. Brown, Alton Brown, Charles Bullock, Orisa Cameron, yes ma'am. Natasha Cherry Perez, thank you. Juan Colon, thank you. Ethel Cooks, thank you. Rachel Ellison, Dwayne Faison, Miguel Feliciano, Anna Fisher, Wilfredo Florentino, Jessica Franco, Dwayne Frankson, Odessa Finn, Jabril Gaskin, thank you. Aura Goodwin, Andrea Granville, Jimmy Guilty, Thomas Hayes, Suzanne Jacobs, thank you. Ebony Johnson, Amia Johnson, Rocklina Johnson, thank you. Grace Jones Roberts, thank you. Darren Linson, Alice Lohman, Andrata Mitchell, Judith Narain, Kelly Pierre, Evelyn Pugh, Alberto Ramos, gracias. Tanisha Ritter Hudson, Wilma Rivera, thank you. Abdul Sattar, Albert Scott Jr., Tanae Snuggs, thank you. Isaiah Thomas, Luz Torres, Emily Walker, Monique Wallace, Gina Watson, Tanina Wilkerson, thank you. Hazel Worley. Thank you. Madam, we have quorum, with 25.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have 26. Thank you. Ms. Chappelle, can you find out from Ms. Perkins about the parks? I know Ms. Aura Goodwin is not here. She's the co-chair. And Mr. Riggins is not on the board anymore. So let's go right into Totem. The Totem-Herkimer Williams Broadway Junction, the presentation. They're going to do a brief presentation because it's been over the summer, just to give people, some refreshment. I mean, not refreshment. So that they can remember what it is that we were voting on prior to us leaving. I need some refreshments. Mr. Bill Wilkins, the next time, will bring us some refreshments. Mr. Tucker, you and your group.
Good evening. Everybody hear me okay? Thank you, Chair, and to the Community Board for spending another Friday night with us. Hopefully the next one will be, a little more fun. We know many of you, but for those of you who are not familiar, my name is Vivian Liao. I'm one of the principals of Totem. I'm joined here by my partner Tucker, Liz Canella, our project manager, and some of our partners in the room. Our plan is to go over the update that we shared with you all in July, and hopefully the proposal feels familiar to you all, because I do feel that it is a direct reflection of a lot of the work that we put in over the years with many of you in this body, with neighborhood stakeholders and residents and community groups in the neighborhood to really shape this project to maximize the benefits that it would bring the neighborhood. It's also worth noting that we have said from the beginning that our approach to development includes a community benefits agreement in the form of a restrictive declaration that will help memorialize all the commitments that are getting made in the project. And while we know that there are still some details to refine together, we feel confident from our working relationship that we're going to be able to achieve this. And we look forward to working with all of you as long-term partners in the community to really make good on all the promises that are made, and as the development gets built, to be something that we all can be proud of. So as you know, we'll skip to the next slide. Herkimer Williams is unique. We truly feel this is a generational opportunity, one that has the potential to turn dirt storage and parking lots into affordable housing, open space, potential branch of CUNY, space for new jobs and employers, preserving industrial jobs, providing growth opportunities for new businesses, you name it. The next slide, these benefits would complement the more than $500 million of public investment that is currently underway in one of the city's, as you know, major transit hubs at Broadway Junction. It is a prime area for this kind of transit-oriented development. It's also, as you know, truly a junction point that brings together 7 different communities that all deserve vital resources. As the findings of the racial equity report in our proposal also show, the need for affordable housing in this area is acute, especially at low income levels. Our project targets housing creation at the AMI levels that meet where the majority of East New York residents are today. The next slide shows the proposed rezoning area in more detail in the pink there in the middle, which you see is in the heart of all the investments that are currently underway here at the junction. The next slide shows the many reports and recommendations that were made over the years about what should happen in this critical junction. And those reports are ones that we drew upon, along with community feedback, to develop the first proposal that we submitted to start the environmental review process, which kicked off nearly 2 years ago. And since that scoping hearing, we have worked closely with this body, dozens of community organizations, residents, stakeholders, to incorporate their feedback further. This slide summarizes that feedback and also gives an emblematic list of some of the groups that we have engaged with on a continuous basis throughout this process. The result is what you see outlined on the next slide, a ULURP proposal that directly reflects community desires and would create, over the next decade, up to 1,000 units of affordable housing, new commercial and industrial space, new retail space at a variety of footprints to allow for small local businesses as well as destination retail in the final phase, new community facility space, including an option to CUNY to anchor up to 85,000 square feet, new open space, the equivalent, we did a little calculation, the size of 5 NBA basketball courts, and as underscores our approach on all our developments, local hiring, MWBE commitments to ensure that the community benefits from this project go toward the community and create economic opportunity here. So now I'm going to hand it off to Liz to walk through some of these programmatic elements in a little more detail.
Hi, everyone. Promise we're going to be quick. All right, so next slide. Thanks, Viv. So we're committed to maximizing affordable housing, as you all know, that meets East New York residents where they are, and you all as a community board have expressed the deeply affordable housing that is most needed, that Vivian just highlighted. So we've been in discussion with HPD on using their ELA program, so the extremely low and low income affordability program, to bring a little over 230 units between 30 and 80% of AMI in the first phase of construction. So that's building, just I know you guys have seen this, but as a reminder, building B on the right-hand side of the screen. On the next slide, it flags the AMIs that we're targeting here. So we've been asked this in a couple different ways, so just in a more concrete way, we figured we'd give some examples. So for example, a single person working a full-time minimum wage job would qualify for a 30% AMI unit in a studio. A family of 2 parents who are an entry-level teacher and a carpenter, and a laborer with a child could qualify for 60% AMI. For about like a 2-bedroom, and then a mid-career sort of firefighter living with a parent receiving Social Security and 2 children under 18 would qualify for 80% 3-bedroom units. So that's sort of the breadth of the types of families. And on the next slide, you see, so to help residents like the folks that we just talked about afford to live in the neighborhood, what we are going to continue to maximize the affordable housing. And here you see where that breakdown lies by unit count and rent. On the next slide, obviously we'll pause for questions after the fact. Although the first phase is anchored in housing, as we know that's one of the bigger needs, it was also important to ground the first phase with jobs and business opportunities in mind. So that's why we've been actively working with community-based organizations, some of which are here, shown here, to establish the East New York Green Economy Institute. So the Institute is envisioned as a space designed to support job seekers and small industrial businesses on their growth trajectory. Here, and this is important, so there's low-cost workspace, wraparound business support, and creation of local talent pipeline. The Institute will not only help businesses located at Herkimer Williams, but also strengthen existing area businesses that make up the industrial business zone directly to the south of this project. Next slide. So in the third phase, building D on this slide here, so on the left-hand side, would be home to both housing and space dedicated for CUNY. So we've worked hard at the community's request over probably the last 3 or 4 years to engage CUNY in this effort, and have offered them a free option to take that 85,000 square feet. However, we also know that folks want us to explore other options. So in addition to higher education, we're also exploring uses that could be housed here, such as ambulatory care and other workforce training partnerships. Pending the final makeup of what that 85,000 square foot space is, Building D has the potential to contribute anywhere from about 260 units to 385 units of housing. Next slide. So the last phase here, so Building E, would contribute about 440,000 square feet of commercial space, which includes 100, and in addition to 100 square feet of light industrial space. So just as a frame of reference, we've used this before, but 2440 is about 400,000 square feet, so that's directly across the street. We have received interest from a recording studio, an expansion of current businesses that are on our site now, wanting to expand in the future. Next slide. So knitting all of the buildings together on the ground floor, right? So what most people will experience walking day by day will be what we're aiming to be an active ground floor retail experience. So after much community feedback, we're envisioning the spaces of those retailers to span anywhere from like really small scale spaces, 500 square feet to 1,500 square feet, for neighborhood tenants all the way up to 40,000 square feet in the last phase, specifically, that could house destination retail. So think businesses like Brooklyn Blend, Fusion East, all the way up to larger footprints like Dave & Buster's, maybe a movie theater. On the next slide, yep. As part of that like ground floor experience, there will also be open space improvements that create what we're hoping is a more welcoming experience for pedestrians on Van Sinderen, on Herkimer, and on Fulton mainly. About 25,000 square feet of open space will complement Callahan Kelly Playground and the updated Broadway Junction train station. Next slide. In sum, the proposal we have out, this is a very important point. The ladder accessibility upgrades, so the Broadway Junction train station upgrades, come after years of your community advocacy, and we've heard loud and clear that you don't want anything sort of to impede the timeline of that. And in addition to not impeding, just have it be well coordinated. So the timeline here shows that our first building slated to break ground would be after the completion of the ADA improvements. So now in sum, the proposal we've outlined here is a result of many years of community conversations, some that have predated our being here, and most importantly, a reflection of stated desires and concerns you all have given us. And so here, you've seen this chart before, but you see sort of a point-by-point analysis of where the project has transformed over the last few years. A couple of housekeeping on the next slide. To actualize these programs, and this is part of what you're voting on, these are the land use actions that are before you to make the program that we just talked through a reality. And on the next slide, you all know this, but just to remind you, where we certified June 2nd, and so now we're in the first half of the ULIP process. And with that, I'll turn to the last slide, and thank you so much for your time, especially on a Friday. Before we turn it over to question and answer, I did want to turn the floor over to Bill to say a few remarks.
Thank you. Good evening, family. First, let me set the table because it is dinner time. And I'm going to use dinner as the mnemonic. D stands for deference. Deference is yielding to the judgments and opinions of another, courteous submission. I submit an individual becomes an expert after they spend 10,000 hours in a particular discipline. I've exceeded and surpassed that. I'm an expert in economic development and also in affordable housing. I stands for insight. Your zip is not hip. unless it begins 112. I was born in Brooklyn, I was raised in Crown Heights, and for the last 35 years, I've raised my family in East New York, and for the last 25 years, I've worked 4 blocks from the project site. As Liz said, my name is Bill Wilkins. I'm the Executive Director for the Local Development Corporation of East New York. We've been in service to the East Brooklyn community for 45 years. I'm also the Executive Director for the East Brooklyn BID, which is one of the first designated business improvement districts in New York City and the first industrial BID in New York City. Additionally, I am the Executive Director for 2 housing development corporations, and we have over 700
point of
units
order.
of affordable housing.
Mr.
in-
Wilkins,
We have,
point of order. Are you speaking on total part, or are you speaking from the speaker sheet?
I'm speaking from my acronym of dinner, and I started with D, and I'm giving now some insight, and then I'll bring it all together. But
No.
yes, I'm speaking on behalf of
Oh,
the
okay,
proposal.
okay.
Very clearly.
Okay, because I know we got a list back there, and I want to
Okay.
respect the list.
I
That's to be
understand.
last.
I understand. As I was saying, the staff at the LDC, every day we go to work for 3 reasons. That's to grow businesses, change lives, and strengthening communities. We can all agree that Broadway Junction is blighted, it's distressed, and it's a hot mess. Truth be told, for the last 25 years of using Broadway Junction, my soul, my spirit would feel saddened. I felt like I had made a wrong turn somewhere in my life to have an experience of traveling through Broadway Junction. Tonight, Totem reflects bottom-up development. By reading all of the reports, all of the studies, all of the recommendations for a lot of people in this room, all of the conversations, all of the opinions, all of the advice has been synthesized, digested, and created into this plan. That's what bottom-up development is. And when you use bottom-up development, urban renewal will not mean Black and Latino removal. This project is for us and it's by us because it's incorporated all of those important touch points that Totem and I have experienced over the last 5 years. We even conducted a survey of over 500 individuals in the community and also the ridership to bring into the envelope some of the sensibilities that this project desperately needs. N stands for neighborhood. And this is just a fun fact that I recently learned. We know that Brooklyn is one of the largest, well, would be the 5th largest city in America, but also East New York is the largest community in the borough. We have over 175,000 people in East New York in CB5. We're number 1 as far as it relates to the borough, but we also have issues where only 3% have graduate degrees, only 6% make over $150,000. 85% of the members in our community do not have a college degree as compared to 65% in New York City. And only 1 in 3 down the block from us at Maxwell are graduating. So we have a lot of work that we need to work on collectively. N stands for needs. We need to come together, we need to work together, and we need to change the narrative of East New York. This will result in us growing businesses, changing lives, and strengthening communities. This project is bigger than me. This project is bigger than Totem. This project is bigger than Community Board 5. We have an opportunity to collectively work together to transform urban development and to create a model that'll be sustainable and studied for years to come, even after we are here. E stands for economics. $1,000, 1,000 times equals $1 million. $1,000, 10,000 times equals $10 million. $1,000, 100,000 times is $100 million. $1,000, 1 million times equals $1 billion. This is $1 billion. We're looking at $1 billion, and with the sensibility to recycle dollars with our local businesses and our residents, we're looking at 8 blocks from here, $1.5 billion. That's astonishing. R stands for rejoice. The
So
Most
I'm
High,
gonna ask
let
you-
me finish.
No, no.
Let me finish.
Bill, respectfully, let me
Re-
say what I'm gonna say, and then you can finish.
Okay.
But respectfully, we have to allow you to wrap it up, because we said 3 minutes, right?
Right.
We said 3 minutes, and I don't want to be unfair to anybody.
How much time have I taken?
You started at 7:21,
Really?
and it's 7:25.
Okay. All I wanted to say is R means rejoice, and the Lord rejoices when his servants carry out his work. This is the right project at the right time to renew, refresh, and reinvigorate our community. Thank you for your time.
And I want you to know, we've been working with Totem from the beginning. So when you say for us to work together, I want you to know this board continuously work with Totem.
Which we very much appreciate, Chairwoman.
I've
Thank you
said
so
it
much.
before, I said it behind his back, I say it in front of him. I like him as a person. I like that the fact that he listens to us. However, as a committee, everybody's opinion counts. So that's the reason why I'm saying that when you say for us to work together, we've been working together. We've been listening to them. So that was something you didn't have to say. But I didn't say we're not working. Right, but we've been
Anyway,
working with them with
we
this
thank
project.
everyone for their time. Thank you.
Yes, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna, Tucky, if you have something you want to say.
No, Chair.
To wrap it up.
Just
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
allow the people that's gonna speak, and then afterwards, okay, 1 second. And then afterwards, we're gonna let the committee give their recommendation.
And that mic right there, and it's 3 minutes only, very stringent, 3 minutes. No, and whoever's on the list is, that's it. We have 4 people. One. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I need no mic. Is it on? Okay, perfect. So those numbers, I don't know where they came from, but as a resident of Eastern New York, those numbers are not fully statement. I rechecked the numbers last week. Eastern New York is already changing. So I just want to make that clear. The second thing is, as I'm noticing on this paper you guys have, I see a lot of businesses, Brooklyn Bend, no offense to nobody, Fusion, all these. Are these businesses a part of the plan already? Do they already have stores already?
No, they're just folks who over the last few years have reached out to us expressing interest in locating here.
So they're not fully already part of it.
No, we've not signed any commercial leases
You
at
haven't
this.
signed nobody yet. What is the next phase of if a business wants to be a part of this?
Come talk to us and express interest, and let's start a conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane Sanders.
Good evening. My name is Diane Sanders. I've been living in East New York for 30-plus years. I've watched this neighborhood grow and change, but not always for the people that live here. Okay. Too many longtime residents and especially seniors like myself have been priced out of the community they help build. We need to change that. We need more housing to be built in an area that is affordable and accessible. That's why I'm here today to support the Herkimer Williams project. This proposal brings something we needed for a long time, deeply affordable housing that's built for the people who are already there. Totem has taken the time to listen to what the community really wants, unlike other proposals that go out without the community input. This one allows our voices to be heard. Herkimer Williams will bring 1,000 affordable apartments to East New York, giving more people a real chance to stay in their homes and in their community. And it includes 25,000 square feet of public open space to make our streets safer and more walkable, especially around Broadway Junction. I've walked past the vacant lots of Broadway Junction constantly. When I was going to work, whatever, I had to go to take the trains. It's a lot of good space that can be used to build something that benefits all of us. This project represents hope for seniors, families, and future generations of East New Yorkers. Thank you for hearing me, and I urge you to support the Herkimer Williams Project and Totem, and help support the new vision for our community. Thank you.
That's all the speakers we have. Madam Chair? No. Your name, what's your name?
Thank you. I'm going to be really brief. Good evening, everyone. My name is LaShawn. Greetings. My name is LaShawn Allen Muhammad. I serve as the Executive Director of Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corp. We are a community partner of East New York, CB5, community partner with this project. We are anchored in Brownsville, but we're literally right over the bridge. The work that we do at Central Brooklyn is to ensure that community residents are prepared to take advantage of opportunities. And I cannot express enough how much opportunity exists with this project. And so I know a lot of times we ask the question, what is affordable housing and who is it affordable for? And the other question that we don't ask enough is a good question, but we also don't do the work enough to prepare people to earn more money to afford affordable housing. And I think that's a really important part that we need to consider. At Central Brooklyn, we not only help residents develop skills that will take them to the next level economically. We're opening a trade school, which we plan to expand to Broadway Junction, but we also help to support local entrepreneurs to open up their own businesses. So because there's such a vast amount of commercial spaces that are going to be available, through our incubator program, we can help local people right in this room open up businesses so that you can take advantage, because it should be people who live in the community to own businesses in the community. We have to make sure that our economy is circular, right? That you make money in the community and you keep it in the community. So that's what we stand for at Central Brooklyn, and we are a proud supporter of this project, and we are just, hoping that the committee will vote in favor. Thank you.
Brother Paul.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. I'm Brother Paul Muhammad. Bill, I'm not going to give my full resume. I'm just going to say I'm standing up here for the Coalition of Community Advancement. We've worked, I'm a founding member of that coalition. And one of the things I want to address that was said earlier before I read what I'm standing here, we're supporting a CBA agreement. But one of the things folks are missing is that this community has been victimized. The plans come at us, they don't plan with us. We're sitting here victims of benign neglect. I can go on to privatization of public housing. This community, by population, is the highest concentration of black and brown homeowners in this city. See, it's about ownership, it's not about renting. Stop speaking the language you're talking about affordable housing. It's affordable ownership. We own here, and that's what you need to hold on to. It's the land. So what we propose as a coalition, we're saying that we're fighting to make sure this project does not do what other policies have continued to do in this city, which is displace us, make it unaffordable for us to live and own here. We're looking for the fact that the way the developer has structured it, your taxes will shift. You will be minding your business, and your taxes will be, it will be unaffordable for you to pay your taxes unless you pay all the other bills that are going on. Stop believing the hype. So we're talking about our demands, a strong declaration of restrictive on the property. We want to make sure you're not going to give us lip service. We want control of the land with you. What are you going to build there? You're talking about a lot of commercial housing, but you don't have any commercial people that are renting now. You haven't given us a list of who's coming there. You're talking about 231 units now, but what about the other units later? We're seeing what's happening every day in government. They promise you this, it's going tomorrow. We're not believing that. Nobody's going for the hype now. So we want strong restrictive agreement. We want also that we want to put things in place that 100% affordable units within an AMI that can fit this community. Of course, we have people who are city workers. We want to fit them in too, but we know that AMI and that affordable is a relative term. Don't mean they're talking to you. They're not talking to you. Affordable is relative. Make it real for what this community is talking about. So we want some things that will make sure that the development has things that we need here. Education, job training, yes, but we want to make sure the plan fits us, and right now it does not fit us. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Paul.
Thank you, Totem.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys. We're gonna first entertain a motion to approve the agenda, which is today's September 5th, 2025 agenda. Who approved? Mr. Ramos made the motion. It was seconded by Anna Fisher. So moved. So we're gonna have the Land Use Committee come up now to speak about their recommendations about the Totem Project, which I'll have Boris Santos come up to speak about the project.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, I want y'all to bear with me because this is a long set of recommendations. Why is it a long set of recommendations, Boris? Because it's a big project. It's a project that can change generations upon generations upon generations of people in East New York, in Ocean Hill, Brownsville, in Bushwick, and even in Bed-Stuy. So I want y'all to know, first of all, where these recommendations come from. We took hours upon hours upon hours. We passed 9 p.m., 10 p.m. in Ms. Bright's house.
That's right.
Just to put together this set of recommendations. Who did that, Boris? Me and the Housing and Land Use Committee members. And we also thought about each and every one of your voices while putting this.
That's right.
So this is not the last piece of recommendations. We are an advisory board. We give advice to the person that this is gonna go to. Who's this gonna go to? Reminder process is gonna go to the council member, Sandy Nurse. So when we're speaking about this also to make sure that we leverage our voices collectively to tell her what we want. If there's something missing, we're gonna enter discussion. I will take notes and we'll try to insert that. There's already members telling me that there's things missing. So I will include that as I read these. So bear with me. We already voted no as a committee with the following recommendations. The first recommendation I will say is the most essential, important. It speaks about a restrictive declaration to run with the land. So this specific recommendation is a necessary condition, and if this project doesn't have a restrictive declaration, then Herkimer Williams rezoning should not take place. The developer has already agreed to have a restrictive declaration. For those that don't know what a restrictive declaration is, it just means that it's a legally binding agreement with the land, all those properties, that these things should be put in place. Actually, the developer, and I kind of also like Totem, I want to say that too, has also worked out a restricted declaration with another affordable housing property in Brooklyn, Saks Fifth Committee, right? Or Fifth Ave Committee, rather. Saks Fifth, oh, sorry. Fifth Ave Committee, right? Okay. So they already have done this. So a restrictive declaration should take place, recorded against all of Totem's properties to be implemented to ensure that developer A, all of the residential units constructed are affordable as per HPD term sheets. Why is this essential? Because they only have public financing for the first building. They're trying to finance 4 more buildings and make sure all of that is 100% affordable. So we need to make sure that it's not just phase 1 that's affordable. It's all the phases, right? Also, that the usages are not hotels and casinos, that those should be forbidden. C, that the levels of rental of affordability or area median income ranges cited in this document are included. We're going to talk about what the AMIs we want here are. D, that the quality of rental units with studios, 1 to 2 and 3 bedroom mixes cited in this document are included. We also talk about what the mixes of the units of the apartments we have. I will mention that in a bit. E, that the community facility space that they mention is an institution of higher education, a trade school, a public health facility, a child care center, a recreation center, and/or, I'm going to add this language because Wilfredo mentioned, an arts or cultural center. And the last thing, that this declaration allows small businesses to lease parts of the retail space in the bottom at below market rate rents. So the restrictive declaration must be anchored to be enforced by a community-based organization within Community District 5. And they should cover those expenses, the expenses of those community-based organizations to oversee the conditions of this restrictive declaration. We cannot name who the CBO, the community-based organization, is because we cannot play favorites here. We are an apolitical, non-political organization. But we do know that somebody should be enforcing that restrictive declaration, just like in Fifth Ave Committee was the CBO to enforce that affordable housing project in that said community. Now, there is a church property, and the church is here, or at least the attorney for the church. There's a church property included. Nothing was mentioned upon the church because, as Tucker has mentioned, quote unquote, Totem and the church's fates are separate, meaning what they build are separate. But the church will benefit because they can build high as per the zoning changes. That's dangerous because if we gave them the ability to build high, they could come back later, and now you don't have to come to us. At that point, they can build 100% market rate housing, luxury housing, and include the church on the bottom. We have real issues with that. And we do not see, because the attorney has mentioned, home ownership, affordable home ownership, which we do want to see. But we don't see a plan forthcoming. We don't see architectural blueprints. We don't see a rendering, just like we saw right now. And so we are actually revising this right now and saying, because there's no plan forthcoming as we know it regarding affordable home ownership, we should carve out the church. Now, so I've talked 2 points, restricted declaration and the Calvary Unified Free Will Baptist Church located on 1520 Herkimer Street. Let me keep going. I see nods. More nods means we agree so far with everything. Remember, it's not perfect. We're going to enter discussion soon. I'm trying to move it because it's a big project, remember. We cannot move that quickly with a big project, but I'm moving as quick as I can. The commercial office space footprint. The current Herkimer Williams proposal calls for a total of 440,000 square feet of commercial space, commercial office space. Have you seen that amount of office space in your neighborhood? Have you seen it in Bed-Stuy? Have you seen it in Bushwick? Have you seen it next door in Woodhaven? Or you got to go to downtown to see that? Or you got to go to Manhattan to see that? Dangerous. So, And that building, you cannot build residential, because that's the only building they put M16, was M16, manufacturing, light manufacturing can go there. So we appreciate Totem already reducing their commercial office, because they want to build 300,000 square feet more. They want to build a total of 770,000 square feet when they came to us initially. So we already got them to reduce it. And we're saying, go back to the drawing board and reduce it some more, right? Because nowhere in our community can you find a concentration of commercial office space in a single building. They want to include that in the last phase, the last building. So they need to change that. And we need them to reduce that to the most that they can. We don't say reduce it by 200,000 square feet, by 50%. No, the most you can. And if you need to, replace it with light industrial manufacturing, because that building could host light industrial manufacturing. Blue collar jobs. Blue collar jobs, you need you don't need as high as education, and they still pay well. So LaShawn was talking here about, right? As you can see, we're constructive here. You were talking about how you need skills. Well, light industrial, you don't need to be the brightest one in the room. I wasn't the brightest one, right? And you can still make a 6-digit salary and afford to live in your community. So invest in that type of workforce with that space usage in that building instead of the white-collar commercial office space jobs. So I got now commercial space. Building heights. Let me talk about the building heights. The zoning proposal calls for 20 stories in building B, 24 stories in building C, 29 stories in building D, 22 stories in building E. Anyone know what the highest building is in our community? Starrett City. Starrett City has how many stories? As high as how many stories? 20 stories. So we said, they can go 20 because it's near Broadway Junction, it's transit. But we kind of feel kind of funny about going 29 stories, 25 stories. So we say reduce the height of the building to as close to 20 stories as possible. All right? So I got so far the restricted declaration, commercial office space footprint, and the building heights. Now I'm going to talk about mixed income affordability. Again, we busted our heads trying to work this project together. Totem should be able to provide the following affordability through the HPD's extremely low and low income affordability term sheet, which is ELA. ELA is the most affordable term sheet there is in HPD. For those that don't know, term sheets is what the HPD uses to finance, give them public subsidies to finance affordable housing. So, despite Totem's project being based on phased construction, we recommend that building B, which is the first 231 units of affordable housing, and the rest of the project, the rest is 769 units, to embody the following compositions of income ranges. We thought about you, Nidia, and those who think about working class families that need space to live, affordable housing to live. 60% of the affordable units at below 50% AMI. What's 50% AMI, Boris? It's an income of $81,000 for a family of 4. So at least 60% of these units, that's 600 of those units, should go to families making below $81,000, at or below $81,000 for a family of 4. The rest can go to 40% of the units can go to above 50% AMI, but not as high as 100% AMI. As high as 100% AMI is an income of $162,000 for a family of 4. Well, that's kind of high. Why $162,000? Because if you put 2 teachers together, or you put a cop with a teacher, or a construction worker with a teacher, or a construction worker with a cop, or an electrician with a cop, you're around there. So we want to make sure people that are low income can be there, but people that are medium income can be there as well. Working class people, right? But we're not building all the way higher than that for folks that are millionaires. So that's what our composition states. Unit sizes. Studio apartments should be no less than 400 square feet. No less. Why? Because we don't want, as I'm gonna channel our chairperson here, we don't want jails as a studio. We don't want a cell block as a studio. And then a senior to be there in that small block and they can't even afford their bed to be in that space, right? So studios should be no less than 400 square feet. The project should have the following breakdowns for the first 231 units. No more than 20% of the units should consist of studios. 75% of the units should be 1 to 3 bedroom sizes, and maybe 5% could be 4 bedroom sizes. All right? Home ownership. Oh, that's Ms. Rowe. And everyone else who cares about home ownership, because this is a rental project. The developer will reap in perpetuity from rental income. That's why home ownership is different. You pay the mortgage, you're done. Now you gotta pay utility and maintenance, and that's it, right? We need equity, right? So we said here, the project lacks any equity-based housing options or affordable home ownership. The residential footprint of our community is mostly home ownership, as Brother Paul mentioned. But this is missing. So where possible, including in Cavalry's land, if Sandy gets to it and she says, maybe we should include the land instead of carving it out like we say, we should have affordable home ownership, right? So we got that. Couple more things. Affordable below market rate rental space for small businesses. The Herkimer Williams rezoning proposes 114,000 square feet of commercial retail space, right? At the bottom, commercial retail space. We believe that should be rented to at least parcels of 1,500 to 2,000 square feet to small businesses in our community at below market rate rent, right? Because what you're gonna get there is big box office, big retail, Target, right, of sorts going in there. I'm not saying that that's what's gonna go there, but I'm saying that what we're trying to mitigate, right? So we're thinking about this constructively. We're not just throwing grenades. Residential parking, another favorite topic of ours at this community. I'm almost done, a couple more points. The totem rezoning will create large amounts of human activity near Broadway Junction area, and although located near a transit hub, some people, especially those working in those sites and living there, will rely on cars to commute. Building E is set to include 70 parking spots. We recommend that an additional 40 parking spots for residents be offered so that it can at least be close to 10% of the 1,000 units that are being built, all right? And as I take my bike everywhere, but the chairperson reminded everyone has to encounter an emergency at some point. And that ambulance, by that point that it gets to your house, that emergency could already have occurred and it not be the best outcome. So we wanna make sure that yes, parking is included here and additional parking. And we include even residential parking revenue. If you get residential parking revenue from those people that live there, we believe that funding that they'll get monthly, let's say a parking spot is being rented at $100, should go to a community-based organization. Why? Because we believe that you shouldn't be the only ones reaping benefits and profits from that land, but it should be community-based organizations that has been here way before any brick or mortar is going to be set foot on that property. Last couple of things. They're set to create a plaza next to, bless you, next to EDC's plaza. But EDC wants to make that maintained by them. Most of the plaza is public. So why not the city maintain it? It's their job. They're gonna make public land mostly maintained by a private developer. So we believe that those plazas should be maintained by the city. An anti-displacement fund. So the feasibility of this recommendation depends on the income cash flow of this project. Totem must contribute to allowing long-term homeowners and their tenants to stay within their neighborhood for further creation of permanent affordable housing, right? You're creating affordable housing. Your interest is affordable housing. Your interest should be in affordable housing not only within your parameters or your proximity within that land, but forever, or close to forever, in perpetuity, near and around your property. And what that means is a portion of the net positive cash flow from your project, including maybe a percentage of your developer fee. Yes, they get a developer fee. For those that don't know, 6% of at least 6%, close to 6% of the financing of the project goes to their pockets, the developers. So maybe use a portion of that, and whatever is net positive income, especially from the commercial office spaces or the retail spaces, right, should go to a fund, a lockbox, right? And that fund should help local community-based organizations acquire land and ultimately make that land permanently affordable housing, and also help homeowners with repairs. So that's what that lockbox fund will be used for. We call it the anti-displacement fund. Any net positive cash coming in should go to that, a portion of it. And then the last thing, I'm almost done. You see, there's a lot happening in Broadway Junction, not just this project. 2440 Fulton Street already came around. That is at least about $120 million of investment. 1,000 city workers were relocated from around the city, and now they're there. HRA. You probably see them when you walk. That's already one building. The ADA accessible elevators, $500 million are going into that. This is the last thing here. And then EDC and the city with the public plazas, another $100 million. Wow, that's a lot of money. I've never seen that much cash. So what does that mean for a community? We're getting a lot of investments, and how are people going to be prevented from being displaced? So this point here is for the city and for the state and for our electeds. This is not for Totem. Putting them aside, we're receiving multi-million dollars of public and private investment. And that means that the city and the state needs to contribute to anti-displacement funding or resources to assist with that area. That funding should be secured within the budgets of each city and the state, right? We need property tax relief, we need the freezing of rents for renters, and we need a fund for community acquisitions. And these are the resources that should be committed within a 2-mile radius of Broadway Junction. So within that, I mentioned the restrictive deed declaration, I mentioned the church, I mentioned commercial office space, I mentioned building heights, I mentioned income affordability, I mentioned the sizes of units, I mentioned affordable commercial rent, I mentioned residential parking, I mentioned the maintenance of the plazas, and I mentioned an anti-displacement fund and other recommendations near and around Broadway Junction. That is the recommendations of your Housing and Land Use Committee. And with that, I seize the floor.
So thank you. The Land Use Committee is going to approve the 221, is it the 230, 221? 231, with the recommendations that we just made. We are also asking that the entire project be 100% affordable for everybody in this community, not just the first phase, because Ms. Loman, the chair, may not be here. Boris may not be here. Brother Paul, Ro, all of us. It may change, but black and white don't lie. So we are recommending that we approve this project with those recommendations that we just spoke out on. So with that being said, I'll take a few questions and then we'll go right into our vote. Anybody got any questions, want to make a comment? If not, we'll go right into the vote. Board Member Thomas. I see you, Susan.
How you doing? Good evening. So I just want to make a quick suggestion in regards to like the maintenance. I know we want the city to take care of it, but sometimes the city doesn't do the best job, and a lot of the resources get used poorly. And I think sometimes having a privatized organization taking care of the land, and somebody, obviously there needs to be some oversight. I think the city should do something, but I think it should be a combination of the both, not just on the city, because the city is the reason why we've been here. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hello, I apologize. I was not at the land use committee meetings, so I know this is where these are, questions are supposed to come up. But based on what we were discussing about ownership, and I think that is important, is there any possibility that any of these units could be condominiums where they would still provide housing for a lot of people, but there would be equity built into the ownership of the condominiums?
I'm still not clear on the affordability in perpetuity, so that it's always this way, like these rates don't change, market rates change, cost of living, like in perpetuity, whatever the cost is, it stays locked in, and it doesn't like change after 30 years, after 20 years. It remains affordable.
All right, good evening, everyone. Peace and blessings, community board, land use and the chairs. Often with change come big planning and big projects, and just like the chairwoman said, that some of us may not be around, but we want to make sure that whatever recommendations was presented tonight is taken in full consideration. Usually when these big changes come to our community, houses of worship is under attack. I believe that with these recommendations, we should give more support to our community churches, because this is the backbone and foundation of our community. To be able to have a safe haven in which you can come and take your burdens and problems and also rejoice. Oftentimes when there's gentrification, like in Bushwick, they bought all the churches, defaced all of the churches. So I understand that for them not to build higher, right, Boris? But also give them support so they can expand and open up a church school within that community. Also open a rehab center, community services that churches can provide. When it comes to affordable housing, everyone's saying affordable, but no one's giving a price. When I looked at an apartment, it's $3,000 and $4,000. I mean, that's not really affordable. So I agree with the chairman, 100% affordable housing for everybody in East New York. And then we got to also remember, with these developments, it's profit. The reason why they want to rent, because that's a lifetime profit for the owners of those buildings. So I'm in agreement with Brother Paul and the sister that we should probably turn some of these apartment units to be ownership, if not condominium, some other type of program that we can design and develop for the communities, for the Black and brown Latinos, and indigenous people of East New York. And thank you so much. Everyone be well and keep fighting for your rights.
Thank you. So we're gonna have the land use committee come up. Co-chair, Ms. Finn, or co-chair, Ms. Bright? No, we'll bring it to you.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you, the committee and Boris, for the efforts and the job that we have done. Personally, I have to come off a little bit because I don't think we should say yes. I think we should say no unless the recommendations that we make are honored. Too many times we have had developers and other people come into East New York, tell you everything they're going to give you. And you have to remember, this is a big project. It's going to take 10 years. And what's going to happen later on? So if we don't put it in right now, it's not going to work. They're going to tell you inflation. They're going to call it everything they want to call it in order to make it the way they want it to work. We want to see the view, too, from the 20th floor, looking into Manhattan and looking across the tall building. That's an awesome spot. Do you realize what we have in East New York? That's an awesome development, and we can do it, but they need to do it with us, not us with. They just need to do it and look at our community. Look at us. We want just what everyone else wants, to live in a decent community. We want tall buildings. We want the grass too. We want the stores. We want the jobs in our community, the office space or whatever. We want it too. And we can get it if you work with us. So I recommend no, unless the recommendations that we submit is included with it.
So I ask for I'll entertain a motion. I entertain a motion to entertain the committee's recommendation of, you said a no vote with the recommendations that we made, unless they can come back. Okay, so Mother Bright's recommendation is no from the committee unless they include our recommendations that was read from Board Member Boris Santos. With that being said, is there a second? Jessica seconded, and we're going to go into a roll call vote. I'm going to pass it over to Wilfredo Florentino to do the roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we're voting either in support or in opposition of the committee's recommendation. Yes or no on the committee's recommendation. The committee's recommendation was no on the project with their recommendations. I'll repeat it. I see some confused faces. I'll repeat it. We are voting yes or no on the committee's recommendation. The committee's recommendation was no on the plan with the restrictions, the conditions that were outlined by Boris Santos. I'll accept the question for clarification on the motion. Yes, sir. Well, you bring up a valid point, which is this is the point where the board has a conversation about this. And so this is the opportunity that we as a board now discuss whether we are going to vote yay or nay. And so let's discuss. Go ahead, sir.
So we're going into discussion, and let's do this orderly. If someone has something to say, raise your hand. I'll point to you. Reverend Al, you were speaking. Okay. 1 second. Terrell, 1 second. Yeah, could you come up front? Board members only. Board members only. Terrell, you not on the board yet? Sorry. Board members only.
Hi, hello. My name is Jabril. I am a board member of CB5. I disagree with what you're saying, and the reason why I disagree is not necessarily that it's not valid.
So wait, don't direct it to him.
Okay, sorry.
Direct it to
let me
me.
not direct. Yes, sorry.
Direct
I disagree
it to
with the
me.
statement that was made. I feel like it's definitely valid. However, I do believe that if we make a compromise now, then all of the things won't get done, right? If we compromise a little bit, they won't budge as much as we want them to, right? So it's either yes or no, and I think the yes or no is very important, because if we give that now, then they can come back and we can vote again and make that something that is sure, right? We don't want to hear, hey, this might happen, this could happen. No, come back, plan it. We gave you our recommendations. Plan it, come back, and give us what you guys believe that you can do for us. That's my belief.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is a huge development, huge. In good conscience, once we give up that land, we're not getting it back. So yes, we need to fight for every single piece of it and more. Not for us, but for our children, okay? Because they deserve a place to live. So let's grow that list, because they deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's very rare that you will catch me out on a Friday night. No, like seriously, for religious reasons, I usually don't go out on Friday nights. But this is something that is so important to me. And I will, number one, I want to say how proud I am of the Land Use and Housing Committee, because we busted our butts this summer, right, working on these recommendations. I was extremely disappointed to still see no home ownership options in this plan, especially when we were told that HPD does not have projects, home ownership projects available to the plan. And a home ownership project came before our Land Use and Housing Committee this summer. So they do have plans. They might not be as advantageously profitable, but they do have plans. And to me, that is the most important part that I want to see integrated into this project is equity. Because the only way that you're going to be able to stay here, the only way you're going to have affordability in perpetuity is equity. That's the only way. And for that reason, I honestly was extremely disappointed to see that that hasn't come in. And I know that this is something that we've gone on and said in multiple meetings back and forth. And the last meeting, there was a promise from the church that that would be included, but we haven't, like we said, no renderings, no plan, and it sounds like lip service. And if we say yes today, what leverage do we have to get what we want tomorrow?
Thank you.
So I'm voting no on this project, as was recommended by the committee. The absence of a restrictive declaration means that there's no binding mechanism to hold the developer accountable. Without enforceable conditions, the community remains vulnerable to shifting promises, changes in scope, or development outcomes that may not align with what was publicly shared. We cannot be swayed by the bells and whistles of this proposal. At a macro level, the reality is clear. The project accelerates land loss and deepens existing patterns of displacement and community victimization. It's quiet in here. Residents have already experienced predatory development practices and inequitable access to resources, and this is plain. Without strong protections, this cycle is only to get worse. For these reasons, and out of a responsibility to our community and to safeguard our community's land, I encourage everyone to vote no with the restrictions suggested by the committee.
Thank you. So with that being said, we'll go into a roll call vote so that we can move this along.
Alyssa Abernathy. Deborah Ack. Alfred Adams. Thank you. Amiria Allen. Shawnee Bell. Nydia Bonifant. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything. My bad. Yes.
Yes is no.
No vote. Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Yes is no. Yes is no.
So again, we are voting in support or in opposition of what the committee recommended, and you are voting in support of the committee's recommendation. So that's a no vote, but it is a yes to the committee's recommendation. Yes or no to the committee's recommendation. That's what we vote, folks. Yes or no to the committee's recommendation. Here we go. Nydia Bonifant, yes or no to the committee's recommendation? Thank you. Mrs. Bright, Mother Bright, you vote yes. Alton Brown. Charles Bullock. Arisa Cameron. Natasha Cherry Perez. Thank you. Mr. Colon. Gracias. Ethel Cooks. Thank you, Ms. Cooks. Let me mark you as present on this side. Rachel Ellison. Dwayne Faison. Mr. Feliciano.
Yes.
Yes to the committee's recommendation. Ms. Fisher. Yes to the committee's recommendation. Mr. Florentino, yes to the committee's recommendation. Ms. Franco? Yes to the no. All right. Mr. Frankinson is not here. Ms. Finn? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Finn. Yes to the committee's recommendation. Mr. Gaskin? Thank you. Ms. Goodwin? She's not here. Ms. Granville, yes to the committee's recommendation. Mr. Guilty, I don't believe he's here. Mr. Thomas Hayes. Suzanne Jacobs, yes to the committee's recommendation. Ebony Johnson. Amia Johnson. Miss Roe Johnson, yes to the committee's recommendation. Miss Grace Jones Roberts, thank you. Mr. Linson, thank you. Chair Lohman, thank you. Andrada Mitchell, thank you so much. Judith Narain, Kelly Pierre, Evelyn Pugh, Mr. Ramos, yes to the committee's recommendation. Thank you so much. CB5 ENY, branded materials. Tanisha Ritter Hudson, Wilma Rivera, thank you. Abdul Sattar, Albert Scott Jr., Miss Snuggs, thank you. Mr. Thomas, thank you. Ms. Torres, Emily Walker, Monique Wallace, Miss Gina Watson, Miss Wilkerson. You're voting yes to the committee's recommendation. Thank you. And Miss Worley, yes to the committee's recommendation.
It was everybody voted, one abstention. 25. You know abstention.
Madam Chair, the motion passes with 25 and 1 abstention.
Thank you, everyone, for that. I just want to say thank you to the land use for putting in all the work that you've put in. But I also want to say that when the committees give their recommendations, we should follow lead. So I just want to say that publicly, that the committees put a lot of time and effort into whatever project that they're working on, and the board should follow suit and support. That is something we've always done. So I thank each and every board member for being here tonight. We're not finished, we got one more thing to vote on, but I want to thank the Land Use Committee for an outstanding report that was put forth, okay? Brother Paul, could you come real quick so that we can do this last item and then we can all skate out of here? Over there. Tucker and Totem, I know we're gonna meet. I know we're gonna be able to get this thing through. So I just want you to say, I know you guys have a lot of homework to do. You gotta go back to HPD, but I think we can get the home ownership and the things that we're requesting. Would you like to say something before we move on to the next project?
I don't want to extend anyone's Friday night any further, but I do just want to say something real quick. One, I'm gratified. We've been working in conversation with you for almost 3 years. I'm getting a little emotional. Whoa. It's almost 3 years. And we worked real hard together. And I hope you feel like I'm sure we still have work to do. By the way, this is only a first step of a many, many years endeavor, right? But I'm gratified that we were able to develop the working relationship that we did, and I feel like I have real friends here across this room, believe it or not. Two, I'm excited, because a lot of the things Boris said, whether he acknowledged it or other people in the room did tonight, they come right out of the proposal, and so I'm very excited about working on the CBA together, the restrictive deck together, because I don't think we're very far apart at all. There's nothing is ever going to be 100% agreement, and there are real world concerns that are going to prevent a couple of things from happening. But just a quick glance at what you've given us, I'd say we're in 80% agreement, and we got some work to do on the 20%, and hopefully we can get there. And third, I would just say how disappointed I am in us, because this is one of the great professional disappointments of my life. Because I think we tried to work really hard to present something to you that was a dialogue over many years to get there, and we failed to earn your trust. And I hope that we can earn it in the years to come.
Thank you. Thank you. We have one more project before us, which is the parks. Brother Paul is going to read the recommendation, and then we'll go to vote, and that'll be the end of the meeting.
Again, good evening. So the Land Use Committee we're reviewing the New York City Parks and Department of Recreation, Brooklyn CB5 Park and site selection acquisition. There's a site that we're very concerned about, and we want to actually push them to actually develop this site. We approved for recommendation with modifications and conditions. The Land Use Committee, we're thinking about they should conduct an assessment of the park sites in CB5 to identify where capital funding is needed for repair and upgrades. The New York City Parks Department provided a capital cost estimate for the construction and maintenance of East New York Recreational Center. Long overdue. There's a site that's on Sutter Avenue. My family's lived there over 55 years in East New York, and I've watched what's happened on this site on Sutter Avenue, and we've been looking at it for years. And it's time for them to invest in our community. We're talking about building in a community where we have to have quality of life. We need our own community center in East New York. Do you agree? And it's overdue. So we're suggesting that this capital need would provide a centralized location for a multifaceted family services and programming with intergenerational focus on athleticism, health, wellness, and more. Anybody know where I'm talking about? Sutter and Hendricks? You know that corner? There's a park been sitting there for years, a whole square block, undeveloped. We need to get it. Done. The district is rapidly growing with 2 to 3-bedroom units, translating to hundreds of families that are coming here. What are they going to do with their children? What are they going to do with them? That's in the central of East New York. We're talking East New York. Everybody has something. We need one in East New York here. Do you agree? So let's get it done. So we're saying that the facility would support this growing demographic, and we need to get on it. So we're saying we approve recommendation with modification and conditions, and we'll set aside a plan we'll bring before the board of what we want to see. So we approve it with recommendations. That's what we're supporting before the board.
So read the recommendations. It's 2 points.
I got them. Hold on. The 2 points we have.
You have it?
On the
First page.
I read them.
Okay. Wait. Hold up. This committee, the Land Use Committee, approved the recommendations with modifications and conditions. I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendations that the Land Use Committee just. Board Member Wilfredo Florentino made the motion to accept the committee's recommendations. It's been seconded by Mr. Feliciano. We don't have to go through a roll call vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night. God bless. And you're going to receive an email on Monday with your committee assignments. It has been given to the district office. They will send it out to you guys on Monday. I don't expect them to send it tonight because they are off duty now. So Monday, but I will also text you guys personally to give you the information. Thank you, everyone. Good night. God bless.